Ladies and gentlemen, so Mister Sinister has some very peculiar and interesting mechanics that, if you are not prepared for this fight, can absolutely destroy you, especially if you're very reliant on certain characters like Corvus Glaive, Ghost, Stark and Hunt, Spider-Man. Today, we are going to go over some of the top options for Mister Sinister, and I think as a final boss, this is probably one of the most easy and manageable bosses that we've had in a while, and there are a lot of champions that can counter Mister Sinister. So all in all, it's not too much of a niche month. You know, there's a pretty wide net on today's video, but anyway, let's get into some of the abilities and core stuff that you need to look out for when fighting Mister Sinister. Now, the biggest thing to be aware of is Mister Sinister's molecular regeneration, which means when he's hit, if he gets hit by a critical hit, he has a 100% chance to regenerate. At base, this is going to be 70% of the damage dealt, so pretty much covers the crit there, but also for every single hit you have on the combo meter, it's going to be 1% more. So once you're over 30 hits, it's guaranteed to give him health on every single crit that you have. Combined with his awakened ability as well, he can gain even more regeneration. One more thing to note is that the regeneration cannot be reversed, however it can be heal blocked and also reduced to stuff like the Despair Mastery as well. Now, with this pretty nasty regeneration in mind, the champions that you bring need to fit into one of two categories, and the first one is that they can completely block out the healing, and there are tons of effective options for that, or the second one is that they have damage over time effects that, you know, are not being returned via the crit healing mechanic, because if you apply debuffs, he's got no way to heal those back. So essentially, from what I've seen so far, some of the top dons and top options, and again, if there is another champion that's worked for you, I just want to get out a load of great options as quickly as possible. Please do leave it in the comments section below. So top dons, Quake is just incredible for this fight, because there is no stun penalty, no stun immunity, so she actually is arguably the best option, considering his special attacks are a little bit annoying to deal with because you can just completely ignore them then. Void is really good because you just block off the healing, bait the special one, win the video game. Exact same thing with Archangel, a little bit more damage on Archangel, but you need to parry a little bit more, and also it makes the special one a little bit more risky, and we'll talk about that later. But Archangel, great option. Hyperion, special one spam for the incinerates, very good option as well. Sentinel is great for this fight because you've got the massive shock damage on the heavy attack and also the heal block as well. You've got Blade. Mister Sinister is marked as a villain, so if you bring in the Ghost Rider synergy, you can get some more attack as well, and just, you know, spam those bleeds, and it is a good time there. But, you know, you're going to be taking a little bit more damage if you have the class disadvantage, but don't get hit, and you'll be alright, boys. You'll be alright. And then finally, you've got Captain America Infinity War. If you bring in at least a tech synergy, ideally like a Cosmic and Science as well, for the debuffs, then you can, you know, cancel the regeneration out and just beat him into a pulp there. So yeah, those are some of the top options that I've kind of seen working for people so far. I've seen all of them in action, apart from the Blade one there. And other good options, kind of speaking in theory a little bit more widely here, should be Iceman. You've got the Cold Snap, Sabretooth, Special 1 spam. You've got Bleeds, a Mega Red synergy. Get a fair bit of bleed damage there. A lot of bleed damage on Gwenpool. Fairly similar story with Killmonger there, although these two do have the class disadvantage, so they may not be the best. Dr. Voodoo, you can use the special one, get some poison off. That's probably going to be even better for mitigating some of the regeneration as well. Both of the Wolverines have, a pretty good chance to bleed on critical hits, so you're going to be dealing additional damage over time and also reducing the healing if you have the Despair Mastery. Same story with Venom as well. Iron Man Infinity War, you've got the heal block, you've got the shock on plasma damage, so some really cool stuff there. Vision, you've got the heal block. Massacre, you've got massive incinerate damage. Carnage, you've got massive bleed damage there, and Venom the Duck, you've got some big bleed damage, and I imagine Venom would work interestingly. I think if you put the special 2 on and dealt a lot of the damage via the armor burn, it should work quite nicely. Mephisto, big Aura of Incineration damage over time stuff if you stack them up with the synergies, and Yondu, the special 1 should just be perfect for not only, you know, giving you a bleed, but also applying that heal block as well. So I think these are a ton of good options that should work really really, really well, but let me know what is working best for you in the comment section below. But anyway, now on to all the stuff you need to know to fight Mister Sinister, as well as the regeneration. He has this pretty nasty mechanic, both on the Special 1 and Special 2, that if you block them and don't evade them, you're going to get punished. So the Special 1 has a 100% chance, if you block it, to transfer any damaging debuffs, say for example a bleed on Mister Sinister. If you block it, it's going to be transferred over to you. So if you're playing with Archangel Blade, you need to be very, very careful and try and fully evade the Special 1, unless you want that bleed to end up on you, and you're probably going to die, you know, quite quickly from your own bleed, because those characters are so incredibly powerful. The Special 2 has a 100% chance to inflict concussion, which is going to reduce your ability accuracy by 100% if you block it. This is actually going to be doubled from 6 to 12 seconds in the fight because of the node, and if you get directly hit by the Special 2, because it's really, really tricky to evade, you're going to be stunned for a total of 5 seconds, because again, double debuff duration. So the Special 2 is a little bit tricky. You know, you've either got to fully evade it or block it. Do not risk a partial evade, or you're going to get absolutely ruined by that stun. But really, when it comes to fighting Mister Sinister, for the majority of champions, the best tactic is to kind of bait out the Special 1s. Now, to walk you through a full fight with a rank 4 Void, to kind of see what you're looking out for and, you know, go through a few initial tips when playing around Mister Sinister. So Void, the aim of the game if you're playing Void is get the heal block on and then just gradually burn him down. Mister Sinister is really, really annoying as well, because he does have the defensive node, which means that he's substantially less likely to throw special attacks and does spend a fair bit of time blocking. You'll see at the start, because this is one of my earlier tries, I'm blocking the Special 1, and with Void, because it's not a bleed or kind of a limited time debuff, you know, they're permanent passive effects, it's safe to block if you do not feel confident evading. But as you can see, you know, it's a fair amount of block damage, so you do want to get into the rhythm, ideally of trying to evade as soon as possible. But it's one of those things that we're going to cover in this video, because I feel like I've got it fairly consistently. It's just about kind of leaving a very, very small window between the first and second evade in terms of the timing, and we've got quite a bit of gameplay to break that one down. But anyway, you'll see here we're 33 hits in, we're taking it fairly patiently. We've already got a total of almost 30% down now with Void, and we're just nuking in. And this champion, especially with his passive damage over time, is just really, really nice for this matchup, because again, there's a fair bit of time that you're going to spend trying to bait out the Special 1s, so having all of that damage, you know, the 336 ticking at the moment, is really, really helping to get this fight down as fast as possible. So yeah, Void again is an absolute MVP, but having seen some gameplay, like the specials, they're a fair bit of hassle this month. Like, they're not the easiest ones to evade in the world, so my advice, if you are a very, very good Quake player, is you just want to bring Quake, because she is just such a tremendous option for this fight. As you can see, really, really straightforward. We've got into the rhythm now with Void and evading that Special 1. Again, it does take a little bit of time, so it's probably best on your first couple of runs to go in with characters like Void, and champions that may not have like debuffs to transfer if you get punished and maybe get clipped or take a blocked hit from it. So yeah, that might not be a bad idea. But as you can see here, once you got your damage over time, heal block champion, it really is a case of just baiting out the Special 1 and winning the video game. Very, very straightforward fight. So let's have a little bit more of a look at that Special 1 and how to ideally evade it. Now, to fully evade Mister Sinister's Special 1, there are two components. There's a lunge and then a wave of energy, which is going to be based proximity. I found close range, being right next to Mister Sinister, is kind of the easiest way for me to consistently evade it, because I find the timing window of like dashing back, just pausing for a moment until he lunges forward again, the way to do it. So you dash back when you see him coming at you, and then as soon as you see that hand coming again, you dash back again. So it's one of those things, you just got to watch it a few times, get the practice in, and it becomes second nature after a while. You know, I had a very, very interesting run with Domino where we couldn't get much damage because we didn't have the full Flaming Trinity, but still, we managed to get a fair bit down, but it becomes a little bit tricky. But also, a champion that I really didn't mention earlier is probably Domino. If you had the full Flaming Trinity, you could spam heavy attacks, and I imagine that would work fairly decently, but let me know in the comments below. Now that you know how to deal with the special one and what champions are pretty good for dealing with Mister Sinister, hopefully you are all prepared to smash this out. If this video has been helpful, please do smash that like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to share it with your alliance as well, to kind of help them save revives and potions, that'd be very much appreciated. But overall, man, I quite like the Mister Sinister fight. I think it's super fun. There are plenty of options in comparison to maybe some slightly more niche champions like Darkhawk, the Champion, and also like Uncollected, Red Hulk, and Diablo. You know, it's nice to see a month where there are a lot of characters that work very well, apart from maybe some of the previous, you know, top meta options like Ghost and Corvus. Granted, like, Corvus hasn't really been that great for too much stuff. He's quite good for, in all fairness, like Uncollected Darkhawk. But I feel like when it comes to Alliance War, with the way that the regeneration works, this is going to be a big problem for a lot of Corvus Glaive players if we do see a lot of Mister Sinister knocking about, especially on kind of mutant ambush nodes and ones that may have some regeneration there. So yeah, it's interesting, man. Corvus is already going down, but we'll have to see what happens in kind of the months ahead. But I really do like Mister Sinister's animations. He looks so incredibly cool. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of today's video guide. Let me know who you used in the comment section below. Aside from that, thank you very much for making it this far in the video and watching. Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.